Good day, everyone. My name is Jasper Chong, and today I will present my Action Research Assignment 3 practical presentation. My study is entitled The Effectiveness of Implementing Magic Laundry Grammar with Dice Mechanics in Improving Bahasa Melayu Sentence Construction among Students of Varying Proficiency Levels. The focus of this presentation is to display and defend my intervention strategy, explain how data will be managed ethically, and of course present the anticipated outcomes for students and for professional development as a teacher researcher. This presentation follows four parts: introduction, intervention strategy, data, and ethics, and of course, along with anticipated outcomes. Now, the study takes place in Bahasa Melayu or Malay language classrooms since I'm a major BM, and of course, my practical school, SMK Lawas. The participants are Form 2 students from Class 2 Celestia. The number of students may range about from 30 to 40 depending on attendance on the day of the activity. The class is mixed in proficiency, which means some students are confident while others need more support or guidance, especially in grammar and sentence construction. This makes the class improve and suitable for action research because the intervention is designed to improve a real classroom practice. Now, of course, there are challenges. The classroom challenge is that some students are not actively involved when asked to construct sentences, even sentences. Low and average students, in terms of proficiency, of course, may wait for help, copy from friends, or even avoid trying because they are unsure of the vocabulary and grammar. The problem is not only about participation, but also the quality of the sentence construction. Therefore, the intervention needs to support both engagement and, of course, language accuracy. The center, the central of this action research question, of course, focuses on students' engagement and participation, especially during Bahasa Melayu classes. The supporting question focuses on vocabulary use and, of course, grammatical accuracy in sentence construction tasks. This is important because the study does not only ask whether students enjoy the lesson, it also asks whether the activity helps students to produce better sentences using the target grammar categories. This intervention is supported by three areas of research. First, game-based learning supports engagement and participation. Second, dice-based learning supports vocabulary and, of course, literacy practice through active involvement. Third, dice-based writing activities can help students to generate ideas and organize sentences. However, there is still a gap in Bahasa Melayu secondary classrooms, especially for grammar and sentence construction. Therefore, Magic Laundry is proposed to address this gap. The intervention is Magic Laundry Grammar, with, of course, the dice mechanics. It uses dice, tokens, a magic laundry box, prompt cards or prompts, since it's a laundry, worksheets, and a display element. The purpose is to transform grammar practice from passive worksheet completion into an more, how to say, and more active, structured, and of course enjoyable activity. Students are guided to identify, of course, four types of grammar categories first, then use them in sentence construction. Although the activity is fun, but the language learning objective remains clear. The action plan begins with teaching the concepts of, for example, kata nama am, kata nama khas, kata nama tunggal, and kata nama pemajmukan. Students then complete a classification task. After that, they build four sentences. So there are lower, which is the lots, and the higher, which is hots. After that, they build four sentences, one for each noun type. The magic laundry and dice task is used to reinforce the learning and increase the engagement. Evidence is collected through worksheets, of course, observation, students' opinion, teacher reflection, and of course, mentor or teacher's feedback. Finally, the teacher researcher reflects on what worked and what should be improved. This slide shows how the intervention is embedded in a normal lesson. The induction uses visuals related to laundry. The induction uses visual related, of course, to laundry. What else? Of course, technology, which is our theme, our tema, and innovation. Step 1 explains the concepts, and step 2 requires students to classify 8 words. Step 3 requires students to write on sentence for each noun type. The additional magic laundry gamification task is used as reinforcement if time permits. This design helps to ensure that the intervention does not interrupt normal teaching but becomes part of the lesson. Because 2 Celestia is mixed in proficiency, the intervention must support different levels of students. So, low proficiency students benefit from clear examples. For example, the set sentence guide, which is siapa, apa, di mana. So students can write like a clear sentence. It's just a guidance, of course, and teacher prompting. Average students can practice classification and sentence with writing with guidance, and higher, of course, students can produce clear sentences and may extend their vocabulary use. This makes the intervention fair and accessible while focusing on the same learning objective. The study uses qualitative data collection, and the main data sources are the observation checklist, students' written task sheets, the students' opinion form, and the teacher reflection notes. These sources allow the intervention to be evaluated from different angles. I also have one brief mentor or teacher voice interview as initial supporting feedback, and the written feedback form is still being collected. However, the mentor feedback is supporting data, not the main data. Slides number 12 and 15 show the instruments used in this qualitative action research. The observation checklist records students' engagement. The written tasks show sentence construction performance. The form. The opinion form gives students voice, of course, and the reflection notes help the teacher researcher to evaluate the intervention. Mentor or other teacher feedback is only used as supporting data. The example of students' written task. Next, the example of student opinion form. Last but not least, the example of reflection and teacher or mentor feedback. Ethical practice is important because these studies involve students and classroom data. The activity is part of a normal lesson and should not harm students. And of course, students' identity will be protected by using codes instead of names in analysis and of course reporting. The data will be kept securely and used only for academic purposes. For mentor feedback, voice recording will only be used with permission. If the mentor is not comfortable being recorded, I can use manual notes instead. Because this is qualitative action research, the effectiveness is not determined only by marks. It is determined through patterns across different data sources. Observation shows engagement and participation. Written task show sentence construction and grammar use. Student opinions, teacher reflection, and of course, teacher or mentor feedback help explain how the intervention work in practice. If these sources show positive patterns, then the intervention can be considered useful for improving engagement and sentence construction. The anticipated outcomes are specific and, of course, measurable through qualitative evidence. Students are expected to show better engagement, greater confidence, more appropriate vocabulary use, better grammar accuracy, and clearer sentence construction. These outcomes will not be claimed without evidence. Instead, the observation checklist, written work, opinion form, reflection notes, and of course the mentor feedback or teacher feedback will be compared to see whether these improvements are visible. This action research helps me grow as a teacher researcher. Instead of assuming that an activity works, I need to collect evidence and reflect on it. It also reminds me to be ethical by protecting students' identities and not embarrassing weaker students. Finally, it supports reflective practice because I can use the cycle of planning, acting, observing, and of course reflecting to improve my Bahasa Melayu lessons. In conclusion, Magic Laundry Grammar with Dice Mechanics is a purposeful intervention designed to address low engagement and weak sentence construction in a mixed proficiency Bahasa Melayu classroom. The intervention is active, structured, and of course, most importantly, since it's a game-based learning, it must be enjoyable, but it remains focused on grammar and sentence construction. Its effectiveness will be examined through triangulated qualitative evidence. Through this action research, I really hope to improve not only student learning engagement, but also my own classroom practice as an ethical and evidence-based educator. Thank you. The sources are listed here.